My name is Kate. I'm from Ottawa. I'm 22 years old.
My name is Noah Belanger. I'm 17 years old.
My name is Joshua Harris, and I'm graduating from St. Mary's High School.
I just graduated from Ottawa U.
I'm currently 18.
And I just graduated from Nepean High School.
And I host for this program.
I was finishing high school. I felt really nervous.
A lot of people are asking me, where are you going next year? Like, what are you doing?
Kind of nervous. I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
I didn't know which way to go.
I didn't feel like I was prepared.
And my mom mentioned this program to me.
When I told my friends that I was going to do a gap year program, they thought it was really interesting actually.
It really puts me on a path that I didn't have before.
Learning about myself and what I can do and what I'm really interested in.
It's a really good opportunity for me to be able to explore different career paths.
Go other places and see other cultures.
And just even learn about some that I may not have ever thought about.
It's been a long time coming that there is actually a program for people to take a year off and it's structured to help them.
It's going to be an awesome experience.
Discover Year is a structured gap year that we created because we saw a need for a transitional program between high school and university, and in fact even beyond. Hi there, thanks for tuning in. My name is Jay. I am the founder and program director here at Discover Year. And today we'd like to share a little bit of information about Discover Year and perhaps a little bit more broadly, what is a structured and purposeful gap year and how can it help you? If you're watching this video, perhaps you or someone that you love is coming to the end of high school or perhaps already moved beyond high school and is struggling to figure out what the next best step is for you or for your loved one. There are many, many young people today who leave high school really uncertain about what they like to do, how to best invest their time and their resources. And so a purposeful gap year can be a really, really useful tool to help young people build a sense of confidence and improve their self-awareness, build some resilience, and develop some skills that they perhaps didn't have the opportunity to develop in school. So today in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about how a purposeful gap year can be helpful. And I'm also going to introduce you to a number of the students that have been through Discover Year and come out on the other side, and they'll be able to answer some of the wonderful questions that we've received from students just like you. So one of the questions that we have received and we've received many times over the years is, so what's the difference between a purposeful gap year and just going off and doing something other than school after you leave high school? And it's a really important question. And I have learned that out there in the world, there are a number of people who just don't make a decision about what they're doing next. And they often call that a gap year, which leads some people to think that gap years are not as productive as one might believe. But there is a really important distinction between telling ourselves, hey, I'm going to take a year to explore things I'm interested in, to build some skills, to gain some self-awareness and confidence, and then move on to the next step after, versus, I'm exhausted, I can't make a decision, I'm just going to not make a decision at all. So a purposeful year involves some degree of planning and thought about what you'd like to achieve, how you'd like to grow, what you'd like to do. Of course, the entire year doesn't need to be planned out before you begin, but some degree of intentionality and focus on having some goals and putting plans into place is important. That's where a program like Discover Year can be helpful for a number of students because we integrate this thinking process and planning with the students throughout the year. So Discover Year is what we call a structured and purposeful gap year program. We are actually a program that offers a certificate in career and leadership skills. It's a one-year program, and our students leave with a post-secondary certificate when they graduate from the Discover Year. So we're officially recognized as a private career college in Canada. In our program, we meet every Wednesday for what we call Discovery Days, where students learn all different types of things. A lot of knowledge, a lot of skills, very interactive, very hands-on learning with a group of your peers. And the rest of the week and throughout the year, students do a number of things, like they have jobs, so they earn money. They do community service projects. They travel in the month of February. They have a personal coach that they work with a couple of times a month. We do experiential outings where we visit different types of businesses and cultural places in the community. So it's quite a comprehensive year that revolves around meeting every week, essentially, on Wednesdays for the 10 months of the year. And the rest of the week, students are working and trying different things out, experimenting, sometimes doing portfolios or playing high-level sports. It looks a bit different for everyone, but the commonality is that every Wednesday in Discovery Year, we come together for what we call dynamic learning in career and leadership skills. So to give you a little bit of an idea in more depth about what a Discovery Year is, here is one of our graduates and our current program coordinator, Ariel, to describe what is a Discovery Year.
A Discovery Year is a purposeful year of action, openness, and authenticity. But what does that actually entail? A Discovery Year starts off with summer orientation, a time for you to become familiar with the program and our community. Our job search phase focuses on equipping you with the tools to find paid work that will help you develop your unique potential. Some of our participants have previous work experience, while others may be looking for their very first job. Work is a key component of a Discovery Year as it encourages experiential learning and skill application while also allowing you to earn your own savings. At Discovery Year, we recognize that everyone has different skills, interests, and expectations when it comes to employment. One day every week, Discovery Day, you will all come together for fun and engaging education. These days are dedicated to skills workshops, career conversations, and group discussion. Every Discovery Year student is assigned to a personal life path coach. During your monthly individual meetings with your coach, you will gain a better understanding of how you can make use of your authentic interests, values, and talents. Your coach will aim to help you increase your confidence and self-awareness to incite meaningful action in your life. After several months of working, you will be encouraged to explore the world. The travel component of the program is intended to enlarge your worldview and build your confidence while stepping outside of your comfort zone. Whether you want to travel to Montreal, Marseille, or Manila during your trip, our travel experts will provide guidance and helpful suggestions as you prepare for your journey. With the Community Project, we aim to create a spark for you with regards to a particular social issue. At Discovery Year, we strongly believe that community service is best when the mission and job tasks closely align with your individual interests, talents, and values. Every Discovery Year is unique, and by the end, you'll have your own set of incredible experiences, opportunities, skills, and growth that you can take with you for the rest of your life.
All right, so you heard from Ariel there, and what I'd like to do now is take a moment for each of our Discover Your graduates who's helping us out in this video, for each of them, including Ariel, to introduce themselves. So here are a number of our Discover Year ambassadors.
Hi there, my name is Keisha, and I graduated from Discovery Year in 2024. I took a gap year because I was very burnt out from high school and desperately in need of a change of pace. And I definitely would say that Discovery Year provided that. And now I am specializing in psychology at Queen's University and minoring in music. and also completing a certificate in entrepreneurship, innovation, and creativity.
Hi, my name is Ariane. I graduated Discover Year in 2022. I decided to take a gap year because I was coming out of high school right at the end of COVID. I didn't really feel ready for university, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to end up. Now I am in my fourth year of computer science at Queen's University in Kingston, specializing in AI. And I am starting to look at master programs.
Hello, my name is Jude, and I was part of the 2023 to 2024 Discover Year cohort. I took a gap year because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do after high school and also felt I just needed some more real life experience. And I'm currently studying at Dalhousie University doing a Bachelor of Arts.
Hello, my name is Reese Fitzgerald. I graduated Discover Year in 2020. I decided to take a gap year because I was overwhelmed with the decision to go to post-secondary, and I was underconfident in my ability to make a successful post-secondary decision. We fast forward to now in 2025. I'm a firefighter paramedic up in the city of Yellowknife.
Hey, I'm Ariel. I graduated from Discover Year in 2020, and I took a gap year initially because I was really burnt out from high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do and was really scared of making the wrong choice about my future. Now, I have graduated from the University of Ottawa with a degree in communication and computer science. And I'm currently working with Discover Year as the program coordinator, which is an amazing full circle to be helping and working alongside of students who were in my shoes 6-7 years ago.
Okay, so that's our great team for this video today, and you'll hear from each of our Discover Your ambassadors, and also I'll share some context to some of the wonderful questions that we've received. And the first question I'd like to start with today is a question that we received from a student, and we've received over the years from a number of people, which is, do universities and colleges look down on gap years, or do they actually like seeing this on people's applications? So I'll start by saying that Harvard University, ever heard of it? Harvard University in Boston, one of the most prestigious colleges in the world, has been actively suggesting to every admitted student that gets into Harvard for their undergraduate degree, each of those students in their offer of admission gets a letter that says, hey, we'd love for you to come here. We don't need for you to come this fall. We'd love to see you go and take a purposeful gap year, get some experience out in the world, learn some new things, and come really ready to dig in and learn as much as you can here with us at Harvard. So Harvard has been actively suggesting this for 50 some odd years at this point, which most people don't know. So if you're wondering how universities and colleges respond to gap years, that's perhaps a good marker. Now, not every institution is Harvard. Not every institution has the luxury of telling their students to go away for a year. But in universities and colleges in Canada in particular don't have a universal response to a gap year. But I did reach out to a friend of mine and the director of admissions at the University of Ottawa to find out what their current policy or stance is, to give you a sample, one amongst a couple of hundred institutions in Canada, but generally most institutions have similar policies or perspectives on gap year. So here's what she said. She said the University of Ottawa does not look down on taking a gap year. However, we do ask students to confirm that what they did during that time. This helps us to ensure that they did not begin any post-secondary studies without declaring them. That is important to note. We typically do not defer an offer of admission unless there is an exceptional reason, medical, military, difficult family decision. While I can't speak for other universities, in my 10 years of experience, I have never heard of a gap year negatively impacting a student's application. So that's the director of admissions at the University of Ottawa. Other universities and colleges may have different responses. It is important to note that for very practical purposes, during your gap year, you don't want to exceed a certain number of post-secondary credits. So you'll want to find out how many transfer credits you're able to bring in if you're heading into university or college, whereby the university or college will still deem you to be a direct applicant from high school, because that can have some consequence on whether you get admissions, how you're treated in the admission process. But if you're doing a gap year and not attending a formal university or college that gives credits, you shouldn't have to worry about that. So for us at Discover Year, we are a post-secondary program, but we do not grant credits. So that means students who do Discover Year don't earn credits that could be transferred to university or college. So there's no issue. They're all considered coming directly from high school. Okay, next question. What if you take a gap year and still don't know what you want to do? Then what?
That's the situation I was in. I'd finished my first gap year, and although I had made some interests, I had not found anything that I wanted to commit to post secondary or profession wise yet. So, what did I do? I took a second gap year. Second gap year was a great opportunity for me to hone in on the skills I'd created in my first gap year and really explore the interests I had created from the first one. My second gap year, similar to the first, was not a waste of time. It was just I needed an additional year to really get an idea of what I wanted and where I wanted to be.
So this next question is a very popular one, and a lot of the young people that we meet who are maybe thinking about a gap year but really uncertain about it, they're wondering, will I be left behind? So the question is, will all of your friends be a year ahead of you? Does that feel weird? Is it isolating? What say you, Discover Year alumni?
In my experience, I was able to make a lot of friends with people in my year, even though I was a year older than them. Um, it in high school year matters a lot, but in university you have a bunch of people who have done gap years. You have people who switched into the program and so are doing first year courses when they're much older. I found that the year you were born matters a lot less.
Some of my friends were a year ahead of me. Some also took gap years. At the end of the day, it didn't really make much of a difference to me, especially since, you know, nobody's journey is linear and nobody's journeys are identical. It actually brought me closer to my friends from high school because we had to really seek out each other's company. And I think that made us connect on a much deeper level than we already were. And in that sense, it wasn't isolating. And I also say when it wasn't isolating because of the community that I had at DY. I made friends there as well. So honestly, I think that my social circle was even more enriched by the experience.
All right, next question. Do you do the gap year alone or are you with a group of other students? So this really depends on which type of gap year you're talking about. There are a lot of different types of at least partial year gap year programs where you would be with another cohort of students. In Discover Year, our cohort stays together for the year. So this year we have 29 students. The number of students for us averages between 25 and 35. And our students move through the year in a cohort. Some students do gap years on their own, but it really depends. It's your choice. In Discover Year, though, you are with a group of your peers, and our students really love and appreciate that because not only do they get to learn about themselves, they get to learn about other people who are in similar situation, and they connect in really deep and meaningful ways with them.
I got to meet a bunch of people that I likely wouldn't have been good friends with in high school, and you get a lot of different perspectives from different students, different who have different walks of life and have experienced different things.
Getting to do my gap year with a group of other students that were some were similar to me, some were very different. That was so valuable because I got to see how build these close friendships and relationships with people who cared about me and wanted to see me grow, but also wanted to challenge me in those ways. And they're people that I might not have gotten to connect with as much in high school.
It really felt like a very strong team environment. We were all working together towards the same things and really were able to support each other together to get through that. And I think that that was really special.
Okay, next question. How do you afford a gap year if your family doesn't have a lot of money? Are there scholarships? So I'll have two parts to this answer. Number one, I can speak for us at Discover Year. We do have financial aid available, so we don't admit students based on their ability to pay. All that information in terms of the financial aid and bursaries that are available is on our website. So we do offer those, and we have had a number of students over the years who have received financial aid from us in order to do the program. And more generally, if you're looking to do a gap year that doesn't include Discover Year, there are some financial aid outlets that exist. One place to look is at CanGap, the Canadian Gap Year Association, cangap.ca. They have a lot of great resources that you can look through there as well. And I know they do have scholarships for gap years that they offer through their website as well. So it's important to note that gap years can be an opportunity as well to not only not cost you money, but to save some money. So in Discover Year, the way the program is developed, our students are encouraged to be working almost full time throughout the year, which means they can make about $20,000 if they're earning minimum wage here in Ontario. 20, maybe even more than $20,000, depending on how much they work. And then they have the program fees and their travel fees to pay. But generally speaking, if they're living at home and don't incur major expenses outside of their travel period, our students stand to possibly save $5,000 or $10,000 over the course of the year. So it's important to know a gap year does not need to be putting you into debt. In fact, I would argue that it's great if you can at least break even or maybe even save some money. Okay, next question. Did the gap year actually help you figure out what to study, or did it just delay the decision? Good question.
What my gap year did was it unearthed my interests. So the programs I did, fire school and paramedic school, were things that I didn't know I was interested in and wanted to succeed in until I took my gap year, explored my interests, and then came to that conclusion. So without my gap year, my two diplomas were not even on my radar.
My gap year definitely helped me make a decision for what to do after. Uh, I was exposed to mentors who studied in fields I hadn't heard of or didn't know much about. And I also learned more about myself and even in relation to my peers. So, like, what makes me different? How are my strengths and interests and values different from those around me? Because that helped me to see more clearly what would be valuable and meaningful for me to pursue so that I could go into my next step, which for me was university, with more purpose, knowing why I was there, and that, I had things to both learn and to bring into that program.
Gap years, like many things at this stage of life, when you're leaving high school, the world can seem uncertain. There's lots going on, decisions to be made. Adulting is coming. And so, a great question that we often receive is, what was the scariest or most uncomfortable part of your gap year experience? Because the goal of a gap year is to create a little bit of discomfort for us, push us outside of our comfort zone so we can learn and grow. So here's what a couple of our students had to say.
To me, the scariest part was being afraid of being behind. I had always had a very clear vision of my path, and it was high school, university, get a job. And a gap year wasn't part of it. So I was really, really afraid that I would get to university and be behind or be left out. And that was not the case at all.
Okay, the next question is by far one of the biggest concerns that I hear, especially from parents, but sometimes from students as well. They have this fear that if you do a gap year, you're going to forget everything you ever learned in school. So the question is, do you lose academic momentum by taking a year off? Like, is it harder to go back to school? Here's what a couple of our students had to say about that.
I would say no, not really. And I actually took 2 gap years, so I had even more time off before hopping back into university. And while I would say there definitely is a little bit of an adjustment and a little bit of time that it takes to get used to being in a more academic setting again, I would say that it's really quite easy to, remember all the old habits. So there's a bit of an adjustment, but it's nothing too drastic at all.
Academics does feel like a treadmill sometimes, and so gap year definitely felt like stepping off the treadmill. I'd never not been a student. And going back into school a year later, it was like I kind of had to relearn how to be a student, but it wasn't because my like learning and academic momentum was lost. It was more so because I was going into school wanting to be a different kind of student than I had been in high school. And so I was learning that. I'd say I was refreshed, um, more motivated, and excited. And so that helped with the momentum to kind of kickstart it again and then be successful in my 4 year plus degree.
In my experience, I actually started doing better after taking gap year. At the end of my 4 years, I was really, really burnt out. I was always very, very high achieving, and putting that much effort into all of my classes had kind of drained me. So being able to take a year to focus on other ways of growing and learning really helped me out.
Okay, next question. What specific life skills did you learn that you wouldn't have gotten from going straight to university?
First thing that comes to mind is communicating effectively. So that could be listening. I feel like listening skills are very underrated and they are so crucial to engaging in meaningful conversations. And so is asking questions. So at Discovery Year, I learned to ask good questions. Um, and I don't even know if I would have gained that skill from university either. But we explicitly worked on that at Discovery Year. And another thing that comes to mind is feedback. Giving and receiving feedback effectively is so important, not only in the workplace, but also within interpersonal relations. I'm not sure if this is a concrete skill, but putting yourself out there is something that I learned to do at Discovery Year and challenging myself and taking risks and being okay with that. I learned to adopt a mindset that would really enable me to make decisions that would lead to growth.
Next question is, how did your gap year change you as a person? Can you give a concrete example? Great question.
So my discovery year definitely changed me as a person and helped me become a much better version of myself than I was at the start of the year. And one concrete example of that would be that I'm a lot more confident and comfortable with my communication skills now. Before, when I was in a large group setting, I would stay very silent and not really talk or open up until I got to know people. Whereas now, I'm often the one initiating conversations and trying to break the ice and make everybody in the group feel comfortable. So that's one concrete way that I think Discovery really helped my confidence in that regard.
I think the most notable change was definitely confidence. I used to be a very, very shy, quiet person. In high school, I guarantee you, like 80% of the graduating class could not tell you who I am. I sat in my corner and did my homework. Now, comparatively, I have gotten hugely involved in my school. Um, 2 years ago, I was in charge of a team of 10 people who were in charge of 80 volunteers who ran orientation for 500 incoming students. And as a part of that, I had to introduce myself to all of the incoming students at Queens. So that was about 2,000 people in the stadium. That is by far something that I never thought I would be able to do. And a large part of why I was able to do it was the confidence I gained through Discovery Year.
Okay, next question. Is a gap year running away from problems, or is it actually facing them and growing? And the answer to that question is you're the only one that will know. You're the only one that will know for sure that if you are running away from your problems and avoiding them, or if you're saying, I need to do this in order to overcome some challenges that I'm facing, or in order to grow as a person so that I can more effectively move toward my potential. Students who do Discovery Year, I would say almost all of them certainly are moving towards facing their challenges rather than running away from them. But it is certainly the case that some people, those who I talked about earlier, who are not making a decision at all, that's often the case that they are avoiding challenges. So if you're intentional and purposeful about your gap year, you should be in the category of people who is facing their challenges, but once again, only you can decide. Okay, next question. What's one thing that happened during your gap year that you never expected, but totally changed your perspective? Great question.
Several, but the first thing that comes to mind is learning about my values and interests and skills. As someone who considers herself to be pretty self-aware, I was surprised by how much I had to learn about myself, and those particular aspects about me, my skills, my values, my interests, are intrinsic, um, absolutely essential to making decisions that align with who I am and that are going to be fulfilling for me. So I think in that sense, like my perspective on how to make decisions and also on who I am as a person has changed since learning those things about myself in greater depth.
I think one of the things that really changed my perspectives during my gap year was traveling alone. I always had this idea that I would go to university in Ottawa, which is where I'm from, because that's where my family is, that's where my friends were. But after traveling alone to Vancouver, I discovered that I needed to leave. I need to continue growing. I needed to leave home, and that's how I ended up in Kingston.
Well, I would say one thing that, well, I sort of expected it, but I didn't fully expect it to be so incredible, and that was the community. The Discover Your community is, I can safely say, the most incredible community that I've ever been a part of. It is so friendly, so generous, so hardworking, and it really feels like a team, but also like a family in a way. It's just a really incredible environment. We all really supported each other, and I made a lot of lifelong friends through the program, and that's why I stick around. It's because I love the community so much. It's a really special community, and it's just an honor to be a part of it. So while I knew it was going to be good, I didn't know that it would be nothing short of extraordinary.
I didn't expect to be so impacted by different life stories from mentors and the conversations, the insightful conversations I was having with my fellow Discover Year students. And all of that kind of building into a perspective shift for me, where I saw the world differently. I saw opportunity and decisions differently. And I think I got to see just how exciting that life could be rather than scary, and how interesting and amazing that it can be to get to both engage with other people's stories and learn from them, and also to be that for other people.
The quality of the relationships you have personally and professionally is going to be a direct reflection of the quality of the relationship you have with yourself. So the earlier in life you can figure out how to have an honest, authentic relationship with yourself, all the answers in my experience are within. But getting to that hard stuff early on in life, I think really sets you up to develop that true authentic capability. And once you put your true authentic self into the world, relationships come very, very naturally.
Relationships are incredibly important. And when people say, oh, like networking, and they talk about networking, I think of relationships. When I think networking, I'm like, how can I foster a meaningful relationship with this person?
Any relationship that's not as good as it could be is because one of you feels disrespected. So anytime something's not working, I ask myself, do I feel disrespected, or how might I be more respectful for them?
I like to tell students, and what I've learned is that you can always change and pivot. The decision that you make at one time doesn't have to stay forever, ever and ever and ever. So redesigning and changing your career at any point is encouraged, actually. It's really cool.
Network as much as you can, not just business networking, you just network with people. So if you don't know what to do anything. Like if you're looking for work, just get a job anywhere, because you could be at that job and someone could recognize a particular skill, and then they could say, my uncle, is looking for somebody that's doing that. And so that can lead to another job that is more fulfilling than the one you're in. Just keep that network growing, build on those relationships to keep your world large.
In my work, I'm often standing in front of a group of people trying to deliver some information, trying to help them challenge their assumptions a little bit. So that's why I use magic. So this is a 1967 Canadian silver dollar. And I'll hold it here at the tips of my fingers. Sorry, I got a little something on there. Hold it at the tips of my fingers and give it a little rub and a blow. So what's happening right now for you is hopefully that you're feeling a little bit of wonder. And that wonder, like, oh, I thought I knew how the world worked. And now suddenly I know that this thing that was this real tangible physical thing just melted out of existence. Wow, I thought that was impossible. What you're maybe not consciously saying is, all right, if that thing that I know is impossible just happened, then what are the other things that I think are impossible that maybe aren't impossible? Maybe I just haven't figured out how to do it yet.
Okay, last question in this session. Do you regret taking the gap year? Do you wish you had gone straight to school instead?
No. I think if I hadn't taken a gap year, I would still be at home. I wouldn't have many friends. I wouldn't be as happy as I am today. And I would definitely not have done all the cool things that I have been able to do at Queen's.
No, absolutely not. I don't regret a thing. Discovery Year was a really incredible experience for me. It helped me gain a lot more confidence in myself and my abilities and exposed me to a lot of incredible opportunities. So if I had to make the same decision 1,000 times over again, I would. Wouldn't change a thing.
I do not regret taking a gap year. In fact, I think it was the best decision I could have made coming out of high school. I think it was an investment in myself. I think that I learned and grew immensely.
Absolutely not. No, I have no regrets. Yeah. No, honestly, pat on the back to my 17, 18-year-old self for signing up and going through with it. I could not have made a better decision for myself.
Absolutely not. That thought has never crossed my mind. Gap year was something that I needed straight out of school because I was lost and didn't know what I wanted to do. It's easy to say, oh, I wish I went into this earlier and went straight into school. But the truth is I didn't know what I was interested in straight out of high school. So I would not have picked what I chose now. So I stand by my gap year decision, especially 5 years later down the line, seeing how it all turned out.
Okay, this brings us to the end of our Q&A period. Thank you so much for tuning in. And what I would say is if you are considering a gap year or if you're considering a discovery year, the best thing that you could do to determine if this is a good choice for you is, in our case, to come and visit us at one of our info sessions at Discovery Year. We host those mostly online, but occasionally as well in Ottawa. So on our website, on the info sessions webpage, you can find all that detail and you can register for an upcoming event if you'd like. You'll have an opportunity to meet some of our students and graduates live and ask them your questions yourself, as well as some of our parents and staff. It's really the best way that you can fully understand what we do at Discovery Year and to determine if it's a good fit for you. You can also bring your parents or any loved ones along if you'd like. Once again, thanks for tuning in. I wish you all the best. Good luck with your decisions that are upcoming, and we hope to see you at one of our events at Discovery Year. I wish you a life of discovery. Take care.